The reason that this possibility has long been overlooked seems obvious. The overriding belief in millions of years, right, that deep time philosophy. The long-age paradigm. We all know what a paradigm is, right? It's 20 cents. A pair of dimes. Okay, never mind. No, it's a mental framework, right? An overarching belief system. The long-age paradigm blinded researchers to the possibility, as it were. It is inconceivable that such things should be preserved for, in this case, 70 million years. Okay? He's going to show you these two pictures individually coming up. But on the left, what do you think you're seeing there? Any ideas? Pardon? Yeah, that's on the right side there, yeah. On the left, though, are branching blood vessels. There, that's what those are. Those are blood vessels. And then, yes, the round red microstructures, those are the blood cells, right? And then there are some images, and maybe you can tell, there's a blood cell right there in the blood vessel. Okay? The flexible branching structures in the T-Rex bone were justifiably identified as blood vessels. Soft tissues like blood vessels should not be there if the bones were 65 million years old. Should not be there. Likewise, the microscopic structures were able to be squeezed out of some of the blood vessels and can be seen to look like cells, as the researchers said. So once again, there is scope for Dr. Schweitzer to ask the same question. How could these cells last for 65 million years? Do you see the problem with the question? It assumes what? There is no questioning of the 65 million years, right? The questioning is, how could these cells be there, right? And this is still the problem, even today, even since 2005. This is still the problem 15 years later is, we must not understand fossilization very well because there's a method of preservation out there in the rocks that we're not familiar with because we know that the bones are 65 plus million years old. Okay, we don't question that part of anything. From a creation point of view, take off the evolutionary glasses and stick on the creation flood glasses, we would say, well, maybe they're not that old. And maybe the Bible has it right all along, and all these fossils are under 4,500 years old. Okay? That would actually be explainable by the actual experiments, the observations going on in the labs. There, we don't have to extrapolate, if we believe in a shorter time scale. Will they now be convinced? Unfortunately, the long-age paradigm is so dominant that facts alone will not readily overturn it. Right? It's not the observations that are the problem. Right? It's the belief system. As philosopher of science Thomas Kuhn, who came up with the word paradigm, pointed out, what generally happens when a discovery contradicts a paradigm is that the paradigm is not discarded, but modified. Right? It's shored up. It's stapled, paperclip, band-aided together, usually by making secondary assumptions to accommodate the new evidence. Right? So we have dinosaur and human prints together. Therefore, evolution is false. No, that's not what they say, right? They'll say, oh, those are fake. Or maybe somebody came later and carved a human print into the dinosaur track. Or it used to be, back when we had a science center at Fair Park in Dallas, we had a science museum there, the Museum of Science and Natural History, and the curator came down to Glen Rose, saw the human prints, and called them bear tracks because he couldn't dare to, the implications of them being human. Other people have said aliens visited Earth during the Cretaceous period and walked among the dinosaur tracks. And then we have to ask them, well, if they're sophisticated enough to get to Earth from who knows where, why are they walking barefooted? And why do their feet look so much like human feet there? Okay? So will they now be convinced? 2 Peter 3, they're willfully ignorant of the three events: the recent creation of the heavens and earth by the word of God. 2, the global flood of Noah's day that destroyed that first cosmos, that first heavens-earth system. And then 3, the future coming judgment by fire of the whole cosmos, the whole heavens and earth system of now, right? It's being reserved for fire. 2 Peter 3:10 says that when that happens, it will be destroyed with a great noise. Read your Bibles. A great noise. And the elements will melt with fervent heat. And everything will be dissolved. That Greek word is sunestasa, to unloosen. It's like the molecules, the atoms, the nuclear bonding is going to be unloosened all through creation. And a tremendous conflagration of fire is going to purge out sin everywhere. The effects of sin everywhere. I don't believe God's going to start over from scratch. I think he's going to just purge this creation, and then we'll have the new heavens and new earth there. And so 2 Peter 3:10 tells me that the Big Bang and global warming are future events. Future events. That great noise, that Big Bang is coming, hasn't happened. And the global warming, the air elements melting with fervent heat, that's still future also. Okay? That's not past, that's not present, that's all still future after the millennium. Okay? So that's just what appears to have happened in this case. Secondary assumption, secondary assumption, secondary assumption. We don't scrap the original paradigm just because the facts say so. Okay? When Schweitzer first found what appeared to be blood cells in a T-Rex specimen, she said it was exactly like looking at a slice of modern bone. Her eyes told her, this is fresh, modern bone. But of course, I couldn't believe it, she says. I said to the lab technician, these bones, after all, are 65 million years old. Boy, see where her faith is? How could blood cells survive that long? Notice that her first reaction was to question the evidence, not the paradigm. That is in a way quite understandable when human, and it's how science works in reality, because scientists are human. Though when creationists do that, it's characterized as non-scientific. Right? We're the ones who are called pseudoscientists. Don't believe everything you read on the internet about creationists, okay? Especially if it's written by a non-creationist. Okay? They're treading water. They're trying to survive. If they give an inch to us, they're doomed. They know it. Okay? Romans chapter 1 talks about people who are ever learning but never able to come to a knowledge of the truth, that they suppress the truth and unrighteousness. When I used to teach my 12th grade seniors, we had a creation science class on our Christian campus. I said, this verse reminds me of trying to hold down a beach ball underwater. You tried to do this? If you had a pool or something with a beach ball, and you try to push it down underwater, you have to consciously push it down and keep it down, because once you let go, the truth pops up there. And that's what they have to do. They have to keep it out of sight there. They have to keep pushing the truth down. They have to keep suppressing the truth. And that's what they're doing. So will this new evidence cause anyone to stand up and say there's something funny about the emperor's clothes? Not likely. Instead, it will almost certainly become an accepted phenomenon that even stretchy, soft tissues must be somehow capable of surviving for millions of years, right? It's the fossilization process we don't understand. That's the mindset they have now. Because after all, we know that this specimen is 70 million years old. See how it works? This is an Answers in Genesis cartoon. Scientists, this is the news reporter on the left, they're saying, scientists have discovered soft tissue in a T-Rex bone they say is 70 million years old. And then the viewer there is saying, 70 million years? No way. I can't get a turkey sandwich to survive for 3 weeks. Try it yourself, See how long the organics last without preservation, without refrigeration, those kind of things. Not 70 million years. Schweitzer's mentor, the famous dinosaur Jack Horner, upon whom Sam Neill's lead character in the Jurassic Park movies was modeled, is already urging museums to consider cracking open some of the bones in their existing dinosaur fossils in the hope of finding more such Squishosaurus remains. Squishosaurus, right? The soft tissue there. When she first came to him back before 2005 and told her mentor, I seem to have soft tissue in the samples, he basically told her, well, try to prove that they're not soft tissue. She says, I have already tried and I can't do it. She's already tried to falsify the idea, the hypothesis that these are original tissues, and she couldn't do it. And that's what good science is supposed to do. Good science is supposed to take a hypothesis, an educated guess based on information, right? Measurements, observation, those kind of things, and we try to prove the hypothesis false. Prove it false. If it's truth, it'll stand up on its own, and you will not be able to prove it false. Okay? But design an experiment, somehow, some way, you've proved the hypothesis false. This is not what's happening in science today. Scientists today are now coming up with their own pet hypothesis, their own theory, and they're trying to find evidence to support it. And they're trying to get research money to do that. Okay? And that's just totally opposite the way science is supposed to work. Fortunately, Jack Horner said, prove it wrong. And she says, I tried and I can't do it. And they ran that blood cell test, I believe it's 14 times. And she says it comes out blood cell every time, well, round red microstructure every time. Right? He's excited about the potential to learn more about dinosaurs, of course, but nothing about questioning the millions of years. From what I've read in the literature on this issue, they're trying to use the soft tissue to prove that dinosaurs evolved into birds, which is another evolutionary myth. Okay? Rather than scrapping the paradigm, they're trying to use it to support the existing paradigm that dinosaurs have evolved into birds, which the Jurassic Park movie was one of the things they were trying to push in that movie. There's at least 3 different scenes in the first movie where they're trying to push a dinosaur-bird connection. The Jurassic World movie starts off the same way. You see this scaly foot, which you think is a dinosaur foot because it has Jurassic in the title of the movie, and then they come up the leg and it's a bird. And the bird flies away. I have video footage at home, and one of the DVDs I have, where an evolutionist says, you know, when you carve and serve your Thanksgiving turkey, you're eating dinosaur. And they believe that. At the Perot Center in Dallas, the 5-story museum, they have an exhibit there that says birds are living dinosaurs. Birds are feathered dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are not extinct. They're flying around our neighborhoods, okay, as birds now. And that's what they're trying to use the soft tissue evidence to do. Okay, Dr. Boss says sigh at the end there. I invite the reader to step back and contemplate the obvious. This discovery gives immensely powerful support to the proposition that dinosaur fossils are not millions of years old at all, but were mostly fossilized under catastrophic conditions a few thousand years ago at most. Could it be that maybe some of these soft tissues belong to skeletons that are only a few hundreds of years old? Which means that these creatures were actually alive during the medieval time period. And maybe humans saw these dragons, right, during medieval time periods, and called them dragons there. Could it be that dinosaurs and dragons are one and the same? The Chinese called dinosaur fossils dragons until American paleontologists came over to China to look at a sauropod dinosaur called Mamenchosaurus, which has the longest neck of any vertebrate. The neck, just the neck, is 35 feet long. Huge, long sauropod dinosaur. The Chinese officials were calling them dragon bones. The paleontologist said, oh, no. These are Mamenchosaurus, sauropod dinosaur bones. Some of the bones in China were not fossilized. They were soft enough, original enough to be ground up into powder, which they use in soups and in medicines. They're not rocks anymore. They're not rocks. They have not been totally permineralized, just like some of the fossils here. They have this soft tissue. He says at the bottom here, mostly fossilized under catastrophic conditions a few thousand years ago at most. Right? So it does leave the possibility that some of these may be only hundreds of years old.